Welcome to the LiveTap podcast. I'm your host, Damian Traylor, and today I'm here with Piedmont Men's Baseball head coach, Justin Scali. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be, being able to interview you today. I'm really excited to talk about baseball and, maybe get a little bit of a season preview.
For sure.
So, Coach, I understand you guys' baseball season is just around the corner. What preparations are you having the team doing to prepare for the season?
Yeah, I mean, we start practice tomorrow, actually. So you're right. It certainly is right around the corner. I think the thing I've been most pleased with is how hard our players are working here in the off season when we're not allowed to structure or mandate things, from a practice standpoint. We've got guys down here at the facility every day. We've got a very committed group, and I think it really starts with a very large and senior class that has done a great job even before they were seniors in leading our group. And they've really taken the reins this year and created a great environment of expectations from a preparation standpoint. So we're just excited to get on the field with them tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I mean, you guys start this season, I want to say February 14th, but you guys aren't starting the season here. You guys are going all the way to California. You can tell me what made you schedule a game all the way across the country?
For sure. The last several years, what we have done is we have taken a plane trip every other season. Mm-hmm. And what we do typically is we set up a home and home series with an opponent. We try to play as good a schedule as possible. And Chapman University is perennially one of the best programs in Division III. They won the national championship in 2019. We played them in 19 in Arizona. And I spoke to their head coach, and he was willing to come out here last year. So he opened the season here at Loudermilk Field against us, and it was our turn to go back out there. So our players did a great job in fundraising to allow us to take these special trips. But, when we get on the plane, we're going to have a great time, and it's going to be a memorable trip for us. But, winning games makes the trip a little bit more special. And we know, we'll have our hands full with a very talented opponent that's well coached and, very, very, very good group. So we're certainly looking forward to it. But we've done California before. We've done Arizona. We've done Texas. So we've flown to play some places, and it gives our players a chance to see different parts of the country. And we try to build in a little bit of sightseeing when we can. In and around, obviously, we're there to play 3 games and hopefully play well.
Now, Coach, my question is, with you guys playing Chapman, which is one of the best teams, like you said, in D3, is that like a challenge you're hoping to see your team, maybe to kind of see where y'all guys are at right now in the season, early in the season, for guys like, when you prep and start getting ready for conference play or playoffs around that time? Are you looking to see what is my team made about and what are we?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think for me in scheduling and when I build the schedule, we're trying to play the most difficult schedule that we can. I think strength of schedule is a vital factor. If you don't win your conference championship and you're trying to get an at-large selection to the national tournament, strength of schedule is the first primary criteria that they're going to look at. And then obviously, if you can win games against really good people, it certainly helps you. So I find it's most fun to compete against universities and programs like Chapman and like many others that we play non-conference. It's more rewarding if you're able to come out on top against such a quality opponent that is so well coached. So yes, I think what really happens when we play those kind of people is we can lean back on those experiences when we get into a tough conference series or we get into a conference tournament, or if we're fortunate enough to advance later in the season when the teams we're playing are really, really talented. It won't be a surprise to our players as far as the level of play of our opponents. We try to play, like I said, the most difficult schedule we can find every year.
Yes, sir. And Coach, you're a former alum here at Piedmont, actually. What made you want to coach here, or how did you get the job to coach here?
Yeah, so I did my undergraduate at Methodist University, another Division III school similar to Piedmont in North Carolina. And when I came to Piedmont originally in 2004, Coach Peoples, who's our athletic director now, was the head baseball coach, and he had a GA spot open up on his staff and accepted that opportunity in 2004. and thought I would coach here for 2 years and then maybe move on somewhere else. And this is my 21st season here, so it's certainly become home for me. But it was Coach Peoples that brought me down here, and then I coached with him as the head coach, and Coach Dombrowski was an assistant coach with me. The three of us coached 12 years together, and then I took over as the head coach when they went to pursue other opportunities. So while I got here in my first 2 years, I was able to get my master's degree. So I do have an MBA from Piedmont, and my undergraduate is from Methodist University. But it's been a great spot for me. It's home for me. I met my wife here. It's been a great spot for me.
Coach, you played college ball at Methodist, like you said, Methodist University to be exact. Where you won 3 conference championships as a player, you seem to carry that winning culture over into your coaching career here at Piedmont University. Can you tell me, you've had 7 winning seasons here, and this is your 9th year. You only had 1 season where you guys did not have over 500 record. What is the formula to the winning culture you built here at Piedmont?
It starts with good players. I think, you could be a great coach, but if you don't have good players, it's really hard to be successful. So really the credit for any kind of statistical accolades or the scoreboard in general goes to our players. And then it's really, beyond that, it's to our assistant coaches. They do such a great job. I've been so fortunate to work with so many great assistant coaches here. Right from when I became the head coach, I've had such a great group of assistants, and they're so dedicated to our team, and they work so hard. They do a great job in recruiting. Certainly a team effort, but I would tell you the credit for our team's success and the consistent success that we've experienced in the past is first and foremost because we have good players. It's all about the players and their development, their commitment to develop, and we just try to put them in positions to be successful. But it begins and ends with the quality of our players.
Yes, sir. And my next question is, you were a very winning player in college when you played college ball. Like, how did you carry that coaching style over, or that style of winning from Methodist over to Piedmont here?
Yeah, the coach I played for at Methodist, Tom Austin, I think he's in his 44th season there. So he was in his 20-something season, when I got there. And he's one of the most successful coaches at our level in NCAA history. I think he's got 1,300 wins roughly. Wow. So I played for a coach that is a legend in our profession. And certainly Coach Peoples was an assistant when I played at Methodist too, my first 3 years. And he's the one that actually recruited me. So I had the opportunity to play for fantastic coaches, and not just learning about the game, but learning the discipline it takes to prepare and to practice. And I think there are some things that we still do to this day that I learned, as a player. And just like I try to tell our players that have aspirations to coach, take some things that we do that you like, and take note of those, but also some things maybe we do that you don't like, and that's okay too, because you've certainly got to make it your own, and I've certainly tried to do that. But I was fortunate to play for some very high level coaches and learn a lot of baseball. I'm from the Northeast, I'm from New York, so I came south to play baseball, and it was definitely eye-opening when I got here because of the talent level of baseball here in the South. Certainly, outstanding. We see it even to this day in recruiting. There's a lot of good baseball players, obviously, in our area. But I was fortunate, like I said, to play for some really high-level coaches that invested in me, not just as a player and developing my skills, but as I started to have aspirations of potentially become a coach, they invested in me, as a coach. I used to sit close to our coaches, on games I wasn't pitching, because I wanted to listen to their interaction, listen to how they're strategizing into the X's and O's of the game, and then ask questions about practice planning and things like that, because I think that's certainly has influenced me as an assistant coach, and then now as a head coach the last 9 years.
That's actually wild, because my next question was actually going to be, what made you want to be a coach baseball here, and was it a dream of yours growing up?
I think I just always loved baseball. I got the game at home. My dad's a big baseball guy. We're Yankees fans, and I certainly got the game at home. I played it since I was, since I can remember. and just was in a home where baseball was certainly a big part of it. So that was where my love for the game certainly started. I was fortunate. My parents gave me every opportunity to develop as a player as I was playing youth baseball, of course, into high school. And I was, fortunate enough to be recruited to play at a good program. And my love for the game just continued to increase. I don't think when I was in college, coaching wasn't necessarily what I thought I would be doing. It kind of, just blossomed into that. And then when I got done playing, the assistant coach that I played for my last year got a head coaching job the next year and offered me an opportunity to coach his pitchers. And I didn't have a lot of job opportunities. And, it was a great opportunity for a young guy to really get his feet wet and give me the opportunity to take a lot of ownership in our pitching staff, and had those kids that I got to coach up there that I still am in contact with several of them, and appreciate those relationships very much. But got into it, and then just really became more of a passion for me on the career front. And, I just love doing, getting the opportunity to do what I get to do here.
Man, Coach, that's an amazing story. The team went 25-17, going 12-6 in conference while losing to Maryville in the CCS tournament last year. What do you and the team plan on doing this year to win the CCS tournament?
Yeah, I think, our league is one of the best leagues in the country. It's a top 5 conference in the country when you talk about the depth of programs in our league, not just Maryville, as you've mentioned, but LaGrange, Huntington, Covenant, Belhaven. It's a really tough league. We've got a new addition to the league this year. There'll be a good test for us. They're well coached as well. They have a lot of experience on their staff, so we're excited to get that relationship going with those folks. But winning our league is very difficult. Winning the regular season is a very tall challenge, as is winning the conference tournament. We've done it in the past, so we have a lot of players in our program now that experienced a conference championship a couple years ago. So I think they know what it took to do it then. You've got to play your best baseball at the end of the year. I think baseball is unique, in sports where the best team doesn't always win at the end of the year. You've got to be playing the best. In Major League Baseball, it's 162 games. Everybody wins 60 and everybody loses 60. So just because you're better than someone on paper doesn't mean you're going to win. You've got to make pitches. You've got to make plays. You've got to score runners when you have the opportunity. You've got to swing at good pitches. Sometimes you do everything right in the batter's box and you line out to the shortstop and you made out. You swung at a good pitch and you hit it right on the button. So we've got to play our best baseball, but the conference tournament is so far down the road. For us, our focus is just about getting better tomorrow when we practice. We know that we have a very challenging schedule outside of conference, and then when we get into conference play, and that just about every team in our league is good enough to win the tournament. So it'll require our very best to do it. I'm hopeful that past success is something that our returning players can lean on because they've experienced it. But it's not going to help us. It's still 0-0 when we play Chapman on February 14th. So we'll have to go out and play well. But to answer your question, I don't have to tell our guys that the goal is to win the conference. We don't talk about that because that's just assumed. We're here to put new banners on the fence and do all those things, but that doesn't happen if that's your sole focus. I'd like all of our players to get better by the end of practice tomorrow. Yes. And if we do that every day, then we have an opportunity maybe to do some special things at the end of the year.
Yes, sir. Speaking of players, you have a returning player, graduate Trace Kate, who was all CCS first team and actually just won Golden Glove last year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. What does it mean to have a player of that magnitude to return to your team this year?
Yeah, TC is a great player. We're fortunate to have him, not just by, his statistical accolades or his individual accolades, but the care that he puts into his work is such a great example to some of our younger players, the way he goes about his preparation, always in the cage, always getting extra work in. He's more of an introverted player, so he's not the most vocal guy on the team. I think the guys would agree with me if you asked them, but just a leader by example. The best thing I would tell you about Trace is I know what I'm going to get every day. An ultra competitive person that holds himself to a high standard, a phenomenal defender. Good base runner, savvy, smart, understands what pitchers are trying to do to him. Just a very easy player to coach because he's very invested and puts a lot of effort and energy into his preparation. And those are fun and easy players to coach.
That's amazing, Coach. I mean, I can't wait to see you guys this year. You know when you guys' first home game is?
Yeah, February 19th. So we'll be in California that first weekend when we go out there in the 14th. And then we have a midweek home game the following week against Oglethorpe. So another well-coached group, just like the vast majority of our schedule. It'll be a good opponent. Hopefully it's a little warmer than it is today when we go out there and play. But I know those guys it's an in-state rival, so always a tough game. But looking forward to that home opener, as well.
Coach, I mean, I'm pretty sure myself and many of the listeners listening to this pod right now is very interested in, can you give me a game day, like a day in the life as a coach on a game day?
Sure. So we'll take a Friday, for example, I guess, first game of a weekend series. That game usually starts at 6:00 here. So for me, I get to the office usually about 7:45 or 8. That particular, on a Friday, there might be some scouting report review that morning, maybe meet with my assistant coaches. We'll talk a little bit about lineup, what we're thinking about, who's going to play where, talk about, where we're at with our bullpen, what the pitching rotation might look like, depending on what, how the game unfolds. There'll be some field maintenance that's got to happen that day. Coach P does a fantastic job on our field, but we may have to mow that day. We may have to do some things like that. Batting practice for us for a 6:00 game starts at 3:50. So our players will start rolling in the facility probably about 2:30, 2:45, start getting stretched out. They might get treatment, those kind of things, but we'll have batting practice set up. And then, we'll hit from 3:50 to 4:30. They'll hit, we'll take infield, outfield, they will, field prep, national anthem and play. So it's certainly a long day. This period of the calendar year for me, kind of a day in the life, it's, there's not a lot of days off this time of year, but this is why we work very hard for the opportunity to, see how it affects the scoreboard when we get a chance to play. So I don't necessarily consider the hours, being, it is what it is kind of thing. I know I miss a lot of things with my family. I definitely harbor some guilt there, but I've got a very supportive wife and my daughter. They come to all the home games and they're super supportive of our players and our program and always have been. So that certainly makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, on to mental side questions now. As a coach, do you feel mental health is important for athletes?
100%. I mean, it's vital. I think if you are not in a good headspace, it's very hard to perform at your best, not just in baseball, but in the classroom, in any task that our guys have an opportunity to, to take on. So there are things that, that there are other professionals here, at our university that can certainly help any student, not just our players with, on the mental health side, but it's something that we have to be aware of. It helps if you have a good relationship with your players. If you work hard to build good relationships with your players, you can maybe notice some things that maybe are just a little off for someone on that given day. Our support staff does a great job in seeing that too, not just our assistant coaches, but our athletic trainers, our strength coaches, they're around our players every day too. So we work really hard as a staff, really work, trying to build relationships with our players. So maybe we can, see some things that are not quite right for someone in a given day and help point them in the right direction to get those things addressed. Because like I said, any task that our players have to take on academically, socially, or athletically, if they're not in a good headspace, they need to get that taken care of first and foremost before, baseball is certainly, down the line a priority there.
Yeah. How do you keep your players motivated and focused having such a long season that baseball is? Yeah,
I think baseball, the nature of the sport is it's such a grind. I think the physical nature of playing each game is not necessarily, it's not like football, right? Yeah. Where you're taking on a lot of contact and those kind of things. But the wear and tear on bodies of baseball players is the longevity of a season. It's the travel, right? We travel more than any other sport. We play Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend series. So we're on the road. It's maybe 3 nights in a hotel. If we're going further away, it's long bus rides. It's getting home late. It's getting back in the classroom. That's the grind. So I work really hard in conjunction, obviously, with our athletic trainers and our strength coaches to make sure that we're not taxing them physically too much as we continue to prepare on a practice day. Last spring, there's a handful of days through the spring where we maybe have a workout in the weight room schedule for the next day, and we might switch that for yoga, or we might switch that, just give them off in the weight room because we're watching them practice and maybe their legs aren't moving the way we want to, or our energy isn't where it needs to be, and trying to foresee maybe they need some rest and things like that. I put a lot of confidence and trust into our seniors because I know they're all willing to work hard and they would do whatever we ask them to do. But if they come to me and tell me that, as a group, they've got some soreness or their legs are tired, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to listen to that and hold a lot of value in that because I trust them and I know they want to work hard. But if they're physically tired, we're not going to play at our best. So we try to balance that very much. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It is a long season. It's a long grind. It's 5 months. It's 5.5 months if you have a really good year. So, with 1 day off a week for 5.5 months, for the players.
1 day off?
Per week. So that's an NCAA thing. So they'll get 1 day off per week, from practice. So that's a day for them to get caught up in the classroom, get their bodies back under them, get some rest, make sure they're getting their sleep, nutrition, all of those things.
When the team is having a rough stretch of games, as a coach, do you have any tactics or things you do to keep your players engaged on the task at hand?
Yeah, for us, it's all about the process here. So we really try very hard. I know I don't, but we try very hard not to talk about results. It's very simple in our sport. If you make an out as a hitter or you give up a run on the mound, those are results. And obviously that's affecting the scoreboard. But at the end of the day, without getting too deep into it, we have a process board that we pay a lot of attention to here. It has 8 goals on it, 4 on offense, 4 on defense, and we've used it for 8 years here. And we win 98.5% of the time if we get 5 of our 8 process goals, any 5. So we hammer those 5 process goals, getting 5 or more in any given game because we know those are the recipes to get the result we're really seeking on the scoreboard, which is obviously a win. I don't think we wake up on a game day not thinking about winning, but for us it's about what are the things we have to do that are smaller tasks that we can control to influence the scoreboard by the end of the 9th inning, that it's when we're playing at home that there's more runs on the bottom of it than the top.
Yeah, Coach, you've been coaching, like you said, for 21 years, 9 years as a head coach. When do you know that, oh yeah, my team is clicking, we got something going here for sure?
We've had some stretches in most seasons where you're playing really good baseball. I think the nature of baseball, though, it's such a streaky game. You never feel like you've got it figured out.
When the team is having a rough stretch of games, as a coach, do you have any tactics or things you do to keep your players engaged on the task at hand?
Yeah, we really hone in on our process board. We have a process board that has 8 goals on it. And at the end of the day, our players know because we tell them all the time, but of those 8 goals, if we get 5 or more of those 8, we win 98.5% of the time. So 4 offense, 4 defense. There's a lot of different ways to get them. But we know those are the smaller things that our players can control on the field. And if we handle our process and try to do the small things really well, that ultimately will fix the scoreboard when we are in a tough stretch or we're not playing well or we're not able to, get a win or get some wins going. We really just try to get back to our process.
Do you think confidence is an important factor for an athlete, and why?
100%. I think, if you're not confident in anything you're taking on, you're going to have a lot of doubt, and hitting a baseball is probably the hardest thing to do in any sport. If you don't walk into the batter's box thinking you have a good opportunity to square it up, you're probably already defeated. It's a very difficult game, and at the end of the day, we have to coach our players' confidence too, and make sure that they are reminded of the fact that they've put the work in preparation to deserve to be successful. And sometimes that's where the confidence comes in how you've prepared. And when you put the work in and you find success in practice, that builds the confidence, when you get out there and we put the nice uniforms on and the lights come on and we're playing.
Coach, can you tell me the mental challenges that the sport of baseball brings onto a human being?
Yeah, I think the nature of our sport, there's so much failure, right? Like a hitter's going to get out 7 out of 10 times. A pitcher's going to throw 35, 40% balls. You're going to make errors. You're going to get thrown out. You're going to get caught stealing, picked off. There's just a lot of that in the game of baseball. I think there's some great life lessons in our sport in handling failure. I think it's a challenge for older players because our older players, every year, they heap a lot of expectations, not just on their own performance, but they want the team to do well.
Yeah.
And you can get in a little bit of a rut because it's so important to you, and you're just trying to put too much pressure on yourself, or you're trying to do more than just your task. You just want the team to do well so bad. And I think those are challenges that older players face as well. But it's certainly a big part of our sport and our game.
Yeah, because I mean, I was a former athlete myself, and I played basketball. So I mean, my coach always told me basketball is 90% mental and 10% physical. So I was also wanted to wonder baseball, how, because I have friends who play baseball. Like my friend Isaiah, Zay Flicks, as we call him here, he plays baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He played baseball. So I just wanted to know the mental side, how challenging is it for you guys?
Yeah, I think too, in a 3-hour baseball game, the ball's in the air for about 8.5 minutes. So when you think about the mental aspect of baseball, the majority of baseball is you're out there and you're not playing because the ball isn't being thrown, hit, fielded, those kind of things. There's a lot of downtime in baseball.
Yeah.
You might hit every 40, 45 minutes. You might get 4 at-bats in a game. If you don't have the ability to move on to the next task, which is to be ready to field this pitch if it's, hit to you, and you're still, frustrated about a prior at-bat, it's certainly going to affect you on defense. It's going to affect you in the batter's box the next time. So the nature of our sport creates a lot of empty space where you've got to, train yourself to stay present. We have a giant sign in the middle of our dugout that says, "Be great where your feet are." It's a picture of a couple players' feet. From a mindset standpoint, it's easy for us to say that. Just be great where your feet are.
Yeah.
But I don't, look past the fact that our players are frustrated if they don't perform well. And it's just a sign for them to look at, maybe remind them of, okay, my feet are not in the prior pitch or the prior at-bat. I've got to do what I'm being asked to do right now, and I've got to do it to the best of my ability. Yeah. I can't affect anything that's already happened.
Do you think the sport of baseball has helped shape or grow you as a person, whether it was as a coach or a player when you were at Methodist?
Yeah, I think in my college days, it taught me a lot about hard work, discipline. I was fortunate to play in a really successful program, so I had the ability, number one, to play with a lot of good players. But number two, be around a lot of quality coaches, but then learn what successful programs emphasize. The detail at practice, the detail in training, in the weight room, learning about all of that certainly has influenced, myself, here at Piedmont and how we tried to, run our program for sure.
Coach, we're on to the burner questions now.
Okay.
Coach, I know you played college ball back in 2002, but if you were a player at Piedmont, or he had a Piedmont jersey on, how many, you say, times you think you'll foul your players out?
So how many times do I get my guys out? If I was like my age today trying to play against my current players, none. I don't think I'd get any of them out. But if I was their age, I think I'd compete okay. I think I could do okay, but there's no way now. I'm too old to get those guys out now, but I will throw to them some in batting practice or those kind of things, but I don't throw to them from the mound anymore. I move up, put an L screen up there because we have some pretty talented offensive players, and I don't think there's a single one of them I'd get out now.
You're coming back from a long road trip on the road, and someone does something to make you make the whole team run sprinting up your back. What or who do you think the reason may be for that decision?
It's never happened, knock on wood. I'm not much of make the whole team run kind of coach. I think, there are things that if we do something where if it was on the field, I'm going to more internalize that in the fact that I have to prepare us better at practice. So if we did something in a game that didn't go our way, that's my fault for not preparing us better and coaching us better. If they did something off the field, they got themselves into trouble. That's a little bit different story. They'll suffer the consequences for that. But our players know what our standards are, and they know there are consequences if they don't meet them. But from an on-field standpoint, I try to take the mindset of I can coach us better too. We win together and we lose together. So if we get beat, it starts with me coaching better, and then it obviously, we can play better too. But I'll usually just try to think about how I can coach us better.
Who's the most wild or funny player or coach on the team?
That's a really good question. We've certainly got some comedians. The first one that comes to mind is probably Avery Thompson. He keeps everybody laughing in that locker room for sure. He's a trip, man. He keeps me laughing all the time too. But I love his energy. He's always smiling. Loves to be down here with the guys. Ultra competitive player for sure. But first one that comes to mind is he's a trip, man. He keeps everybody laughing.
Avery's my guy. I know him personally. He's real funny.
Right.
Who's your favorite music artist currently or all time?
Ooh, so I'm obviously much older than you. So when I was, going through school, it was a lot of like Dave Matthews and OAR and stuff like that. I listen to a lot more country music now, Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan, that kind of stuff. My wife tells me I only have like 4 artists on my playlist, so I probably got to branch out a little more. But that's kind of stuff I listen to now.
You listen to David Zimmerman?
Yep, I've got some of that on my playlist too. So, yep, that's good stuff too.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where are you traveling to?
Probably Italy. My wife and I, Italy, Greece. Like my wife and I have talked about doing that. My sister lives in Italy now, so with her husband and her son, or their son. We'd love to make that happen. That's a destination that we would love to get to. My wife and I like to go to a lot of national parks. So we've done a lot of national parks, like here in the United States. But that'd be a sweet trip to be able to go to Europe for sure.
If you're stranded on an island, what 3 things making sure you have with you?
I would first say probably something, you're going to think about survival. So probably something to be able to make fire with, probably something for some shelter, and then maybe something related to fishing or, the ability to catch some fish or something like that. But, dude, I'm a city guy, man, so I'm probably not going to last that long on that island. I'm from the city, so I don't think I'd be the one to last the longest if we got in that situation. But I think those are the things that I would think, first and foremost.
Coach, today is Monday, January 20th. As you know, I know you're a baseball coach, but today is a college football national championship tonight. Who you got, Ohio State or Notre Dame?
Who do I want to win or who do I think is going to win?
Both, you could say.
I think Ohio State's going to win the game pretty easily, but I'd like Notre Dame to win. I'm a Georgia fan now. I'm an adopted Georgia fan. I think being around our players, there's so many Georgia fans, and I've just got, where I'm from, college football is not really a big deal. It's mostly just pro teams. But I've really come to appreciate Georgia football, so I was obviously pulling for them. I'd like Notre Dame to win, but I don't think they have a shot.
I don't think they got a shot either. I mean, Ohio State's team
they're on fire. They're playing so well, and I just don't think Notre Dame can score enough with them. They're going to run into a problem trying to keep pace with them offensively. Yeah. They're going to have to muddy the game up if they're going to be in it. They're going to have to play slow. They're going to have to possess the football, not turn it over, play good in special teams, get some turnovers themselves. They need a lot of good things to happen to win. I think Ohio State could probably not play their best and win, and I think Notre Dame's going to need their best effort to win. Listen, I hope they do. I think Coach Freeman is awesome. I think he's done a phenomenal job. So I'd love for them to win. I hope it's a competitive game, but I'm afraid it's not going to be.
Coach, I appreciate you coming on the pod, but I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you could look back and give your younger self advice, what would it be?
I would say when I was in high school and maybe the beginning of my college career, I wish I'd have worked a little bit harder. I think I was like towards the end of my sophomore year where I really the work ethic piece really clicked for me. I got away with being talented, through high school, where I had some success and didn't necessarily have the right work ethic. And I think if I could go back, maybe like freshman in high school, specific to baseball, I think I would have worked a little bit harder to see how good I could have become. But I don't have any regrets. I had great teammates as a player. I had such a fun time in high school and playing in college. So, but that's the one thing I'd probably tell you, off the top.
Well, Coach, before I end the pod, I did this. I don't know if you know what Cell is here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a little small program
Yep.
that, when freshmen come in.
It's awesome.
You be mentors to them. So I was a navigator this past year, and what I told my voyagers is that let's be great today every day to give them type of motivation and something to look forward to. So before I end the pod, can I get a let's be great today from you?
Yeah, let's be great today.
Yes, sir, man. Well, everybody, that is the end of the Coach Justin Scali episode.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
For sure. But everybody, y'all stay tuned. On Thursday, I have Piedmont women's tennis players Drea Robinson and Olivia Carpenter come on the pod. And like we always say, man, let's be great today.